Welcome to Her Cancer, Our Story, a raw and honest podcast about facing stage 4 metastatic breast cancer as a couple.
Okay, happy Tuesday. I'm Mike.
And I'm Kayla.
And this is our story. How you doing today, Kay?
I'm trying to recover from a cold.
Yeah.
Not even recover. I don't think I'm out of it yet. I'm just trying to get through it at this point.
You seemed better longer today.
Yes, I would agree. I'm not sneezing like I was the last couple days. I don't have a faucet coming out of my face. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't sound as bad.
No, I mean, you kept asking me the last 2 nights if I could record, and I was like, no.
Yeah,
One, I sound terrible.
Like someone was pinching your nose.
I sounded terrible. I couldn't stop sniffling. I did not feel good. I just felt so run down and almost like I was hit by a truck.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a cold though.
Yeah. I'm glad you're starting to feel better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's Saturday. We're recording a little bit later than normal. Just a lot going on this week, and with you feeling so yucky, we didn't want to record. So yeah, it's we've had the whole week. So how was your week?
Well, we went to Columbus last weekend.
We did the concert.
Yeah, we got to go see Luke Combs. I think it was pretty much everything I wanted it to be. Saturday, it was really nice out. It wasn't too hot, and we spent a lot of time outside with my family and played some games and just hung out, and then got ready and walked. Well, no, we didn't walk. We Ubered to Ohio State Stadium, and then it got chilly.
It was cold in there.
It was crowded. What was your first?
They said 90,000, but the stadium can hold 110.
Yeah, I think I saw 97 something were there. And that was the biggest concert he's ever put on.
Yeah.
But I could tell you weren't feeling great about it.
Yeah. Well, when we first got there, it was packed sardines.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
I know, I could tell.
Yeah.
You did okay though. You said it was better once he started playing.
Yeah, no, the energy was also very low for the opener.
True.
Which is actually a big name artist, and it was kind of
yeah, Dirk Bentley was the last opener.
Yeah, and he's actually a really good performer.
Yeah, he was good.
But it was just it was night and day between just the energy in the stadium.
Yeah,
and it got better. But
oh yeah, Luke was great.
Yeah, it was good. And I'm not a big concert person in general, but it was really fun.
Yeah, it got cold though. The wind made it cold.
Yeah,
when that wind would blow, it was chilly.
And we were dressed appropriately.
Yeah.
I mean, you had
I had a dress on, but I had a jacket.
But there was these college girls in tank tops and skirts, and I just
Mm.
felt bad.
That's your dad coming out of you.
I guess, yeah. I was oh my gosh.
Listen, we were all stupid at one point in our lives and wore that kind of I remember going to college parties in the dead of winter in a tank top and I guess maybe jeans, but flip flops. I mean, we were just dumb
you
then.
Weren't just sitting in a cold, windy stadium.
But you gotta look cute.
I guess
that's the priority. Looking cute.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun that weekend.
So we drove home Sunday. Guess what we did? What did I do for you?
You wanted to go for a walk.
I did, and what did I do for you?
You looked up a disc golf course on the way.
I did, and I found one for you, and so we walked in the woods. You played disc golf.
Yeah, it was a nice little hike.
It was. How many steps did I get in on Saturday? Do you remember?
Was it 32,000?
Yep, 14 miles.
Yeah, well, you walked you guys went for a 3-mile walk in the morning.
3 or 4
miles.
miles.
An exercise walk.
Yeah, and then just being outside and stuff, and then we had to walk back from the stadium, which was probably 1.5 miles. I took my cowboy boots off.
You did.
Probably 3/4 of the way in. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
They hurt.
Well, they were cheapo Amazon.
I mean, they were. I was fine until we were walking back.
Yeah.
They did not hurt until then.
Yeah.
So I think I got my money's worth.
I was so happy we walked back. I didn't want to deal with an Uber.
Oh no, it would have been terrible.
Yeah.
But I was tired at that point. So, what else did we do this week?
It was a busy but just normal week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing crazy.
Mhm. I started my 3rd cycle of Kisqali.
Yeah.
So that's good. And next week, I'm getting a brain MRI.
How are you feeling with that coming up in the horizon here?
I'm okay right now. I think I will be more nervous leading into it.
Yeah.
And then the waiting game afterward, I think I'll be a little, I don't know, antsy about it. I'm not sure yet. Jury's still out.
I'm anxious already.
Yeah.
The moment you
I
said
get
you were
that.
going to do it, I got anxious.
I know. And we talked about it. It was like, the easy way would be to not do it and just be happy with where we're at. But I can't do that. Like, this is my life that we're talking about. And I can't. I need to know all the information in order to make the best decisions for my treatment. And I feel strongly that everything will be fine. But, like, the what if, of course, is nerve-wracking. But also, like, well, we got to take care of it then if there is something there. And we just got to move on. So
it's not helping not knowing.
I know. I know.
So I get it,
Yeah.
but gosh.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that on the next episode. The next episode.
I also went and got my hair cut this past week, and
You did.
it was a little weird because I don't think I'm really having hair thinning, but it's just something that I'm like nervous about in general. And I just mentioned that to her of like, because she was asking me if I want to cut it. My hair's fairly long at this point. If I want to cut it short or whatever. And I was like, I'm not really sure. And I'm just trying to decide because at some point I might need to cut it shorter. Like if it starts thinning too much, like, I don't know. I mentioned that because I just said I'm on a medication that can cause hair thinning. I did not say what for. I just was like, I don't know. This is a brand new person. I don't know who she is. And, so anyway, she gave me her recommendations. I kept it pretty long. I cut like the dead stuff off. It's fine. Then I'm like, she's washing my hair and she says something about, oh yeah, I think I mentioned that I get like a shot too. So I'm in menopause. And so I know that can like affect hair growth and things like that. And she said, oh yeah, I had a hysterectomy and they wanted to take my ovaries out, but I wasn't dealing with that. But of course they said like it could help prevent cancer, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just, yeah, okay. I don't, okay. And I know like she doesn't know.
Right.
It nothing about what she said like hurt my feelings or anything like that, but it's just awkward for me.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say anything. Like there's no point in saying anything. But yeah, just another like, oh yeah, this is my life now. So anyway, I didn't even tell you about that.
Yeah, no.
But all right.
And then today we went up to Shippensburg and watched our old college team compete at the conference meet, and the girls won the championship again.
Yeah. So
And
I think
if
they
you
were
remember from last episode, they wore a shirt with your saying on it, and so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. They have a good team again, and it's exciting to see them still doing great things, and it was fun to watch. I mean, we didn't stay too long, just the boys were all over the place, and it was a little chilly too. It wasn't as warm as it normally would be, so.
Right.
But yeah, it was fun day.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
I got back from roughing a hockey game. It's 9:45.
Yeah, let's get this done.
Yeah. All right. Well, so what do you want to talk about today?
All right. So I have a topic that I want to dive into a little bit. Initially, I believe, pretty soon after my diagnosis, or maybe even when I was actually diagnosed with stage 4, I'm pretty sure the oncologist kind of referred to it as like a chronic illness. And this is something that I see a lot, I've read a lot, but I've also seen some people almost like embrace that term where other people are very against using that term. I'm split on it. I think there's pros and cons to both, and I think it just depends a lot on multiple factors. So I kind of want to dive into like the two different sides, like the pro side of it and then the con side of it. Because I do think that referring to MBC as a chronic illness can be helpful in some ways, but it then can also miss some important realities of like the life that we're living with this disease. But again, I personally don't necessarily feel like it's right or wrong, and I don't necessarily feel like strongly one way or the other, but I think it's just something that we should talk about, especially for people who aren't familiar with it, but may hear that term chronic illness at times. So before we dive into pros and cons, I want to hear like your initial take on this before we dive into it. What do you think?
Using the phrase
Chronic illness. Yeah.
I don't have any strong feelings against it. Mm-hmm. I think it's accurate. Mm-hmm. I think the only worry that I have is like using it around people who are less familiar with stage 4 breast cancer. It like waters it down and kind of makes it seem like, oh, you just have diabetes or some other chronic illness that people generally live with forever, know? So I think that's like my only thing is like, and I don't know if I've ever used it yet, but I haven't used the other one either.
But I know we've used it talking to Liam.
Right.
Which we have not used the cancer word with him yet.
Yeah.
But that was an easier way to introduce him to the topic.
I mean, it softens the blow.
It does. But do we really want to soften the blow in our regular conversations with adults about it? I don't know.
I don't know. It's interesting. I had someone ask me how things were going the other day, and it's like I still don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
Because it's like they don't quite. I get the feeling they don't quite understand, and I don't. So I like. There's times where I'm like, well, she has a terminal illness, but I don't like saying that.
I know, it's like, let's celebrate that I feel good, but I also don't want to minimize like how bad this actually is.
Yes.
I don't know. It's both things can be true.
And I don't know who I'm protecting in those conversations. Probably more of myself, but I also sometimes it's like I don't want to get into it.
Yeah. I think it depends on the person. It depends on for both of us, like depends on who we're talking to, the mood that we're in, the emotional stability that we're feeling at that point. Like there's a lot of different things that can go into that. So, okay, but let's kind of dive into some of the pros of calling it a chronic illness first. So I think one thing that we can discuss is how it kind of reflects how treatment has evolved over time. So we've discussed how the medications that have become available in the last 5 years especially, but even, the last 10 years is huge for the metastatic breast cancer community, and how we can live for years on this ongoing treatment. So that chronic label kind of acknowledges that it's managed over time rather than like immediately, you have 6 months to live or whatever it might be. So what do you think about that?
No, that makes sense. Like, like thinking of something as a terminal illness, it's let's just get you comfortable, and I think calling it calling stage 4 breast cancer is like calling it a chronic illness. I feel like it does reflect the current, as far as like the medical world for that, because there is so many treatments and I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a celebration, right? That that research has come a long way and that people are outliving so much of the data, the science, whatever behind some of this stuff because of the treatments that continuously are coming out. So, all right, can I go to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. It can reduce like the panic that you feel when you hear stage 4 cancer, because I'll be honest, like I would hear stage 4 cancer and it's before this and also currently with it. It's all terrifying, for good reason. So I think kind of referencing like what you talked about earlier, it's relating it to something like diabetes or heart disease or like, I don't know, some other type of chronic illness.
I had trouble thinking of anything other than diabetes.
I know. I somehow, thankfully, heart disease came into my brain.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just makes it a little less panic inducing if you refer to it as a chronic illness versus a terminal illness. I'm going to frame it in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, like I think it just kind of goes back to that watering it down. I don't know. Like,
I know, but right now we're just talking about the pros, Mike. We're not getting to the cons.
No, I get it.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
obviously, yeah. I mean, it's just so simple. Like, yeah, it definitely takes that sting away from hearing it.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I think sometimes we have to sit in the uncomfortable.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Life isn't all rainbows and butterflies, and anybody who gets to live like that, great. I'm really happy for you. But the reality is, all of us are going to be faced with something terrible at some point in our lives, and so we all have to learn to move forward with that. And like, I mean, again, even our kids, like, yes, we as parents, we have to shelter them and we have to protect them. But again, the reality is their mom has stage 4 cancer, so at some point that has to be addressed with them. So I think it depends on who you're talking to. It goes back to that.
Yep. That makes sense.
All right. Anything else with that?
I don't think so.
Okay. So kind of going into that, like, again, I was kind of going like with what you were saying of, I forget exactly how you phrased it, but when you hear stage 4, it's like going to, okay, well, let's make you comfortable. Let's kind of give you a good 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is. But with it being more of a chronic illness, it kind of allows you to do things like planning more for the future and not feeling like you have to solve all the problems you have tomorrow. You can take it kind of day by day or week by week or month by month in a way.
Yeah.
You can keep working. You can stay engaged with your family. And I'm talking all this, like, I'm going to get into a little bit of like how it can look different for people. But for me right now, like, other than my appointments and other than it popping into my brain multiple times a day, like, I'm living life pretty similarly to how I was before. So you can kind of still plan long term and shift kind of from like the I'm dying perspective to more like I'm living with this condition. And I said it, I don't know, in one of our episodes a while back, like, I'm not dying right now. And like, I think I told you, like, I need you to stop looking at me like I'm dying, because I'm not.
Yeah. No, I mean, you said that like that night, I think, when we found out.
Yeah, I think so.
But, kind of going back down that road and on a little side tangent here, like, hearing from the doctor that you had stage 4 cancer, like, I was grieving you immediately.
Yeah.
I lost my wife that day. And like, that's just kind of like my brain went into that survival mode. Cause it, like, everything about stage 4 breast cancer leading up to that point was, it's a terminal illness, and I mean, cause I think even at that point, like, I personally didn't do much research into it because, well, there's no way you were going to have stage 4 breast cancer. And I also didn't want to cross that bridge until we had to, but being very frank, like, when she said that, I immediately went into like a grieving mode.
Yeah.
Because that's all that I knew about stage 4 cancer, was that it was terminal.
Well, I mean, I remember there was an appointment in Hagerstown that we were driving back from, and we had crossed over the railroad tracks on it, and I are there. You remember?
You're getting very specific right now.
I know.
You just want to throw out the address of where we live?
Stop. People can easily look us up if they really want to. Our 300 followers. It's fine. But I said to you something like, I forget exactly how I phrased it. Basically, I was like, it could be stage 4. Like, what if it is? Do you know what that means? I don't know that I asked you that, but I was like, that's a possibility, right? And I think you were like, oh, like, you were a little shocked, I think, at that point that I even brought it up. Do you remember that conversation?
I don't. I really, like, I'm very good at remembering things, and this one
I can picture exactly, like, where we were driving. I can almost see, like, what the sky looked like that day.
No, there's a lot in that time frame I think I deleted from my brain.
Or PTSD.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I think to help your mental and emotional stability, like thinking of it that way can really help ease the burden of I'm going to die from this.
Absolutely.
Or with this, or
I
whatever.
think I kind of, looking back, I wish I had prepared myself a little bit. And like, I don't think anyone in our shoes at that time, even if I could go back and redo it, I don't know if I would have let myself, but find out more about stage 4 before we knew you had it. Like, maybe I wouldn't have been so scared and, like I said, so sad. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine anybody, like, you'd be a very organized and like well-grounded person to do that, because I just couldn't have gone down that road. I think I probably would have spiraled trying to do research on it. But I do, like, I don't know, like, maybe if doctors, like the oncologists, like somehow, like, as you're navigating this very early stuff and you're not even like that, like the stage is set yet, like give information like about all this stuff, like talk about it, how that it is a chronic illness. And I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's tricky because, you know, right now sometimes it can feel like so many people have stage 4 cancer because we follow a lot of people online and we were just at that conference and everything. But the reality is a lot of people don't ever have to encounter stage 4 breast cancer.
That's a good point. I do feel like it's our whole world right now, though.
I think when we're in the thick of it, it feels like it impacts so many people. And not that it doesn't, but I don't know. You just have to look at it from both sides,
that's
I
a good
think.
Point. Yeah.
And why create fear that might not be necessary? But also, I agree. Like, if that thought had never even crossed your mind, then the shock and the fear when you're told those words, I don't know. Yeah. It's unlike anything. And I think we could definitely let ourselves spiral down a path of kind of going back to like that January week where we were in a really bad place if we let ourselves, but we've come a long way since then. So I think a lot of it is too, we just don't let ourselves go down that path very often. At least I don't. Okay, speak for myself. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times like, I don't know, I feel like every day I'm like, why is this how is this my reality? How is this my life? Like, this has to be a dream. No. And I'm like, and then I have to remind myself like, nope, it's not.
Yeah. A little bit ago in this conversation, you talked about like there's days where like it doesn't consume you, and you have time throughout the day where you don't think about it as much, and that struck me because I don't know if I'm still there. I don't know if I'm there yet. Like, I feel like it consumes too much of my energy.
I think that's also just the type of person you are.
No, it is. It is.
Certain things I can compartmentalize a little bit better than you can in general, I think.
Yeah, I know.
So I think that's just some of our personalities kind of coming out there. And I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily for you, but I feel like bad for you. Like, it's sad to me that like it's hard in that way.
I think there's like an interesting dynamic, and I like we need someone way smarter than us to talk about it. But like we're both going through something very big, and like you're the immediate person who's impacted with it. Mm-hmm. So it'd be interesting to see like a study, or I don't know how you would do it, but just like the emotional impacts of like the patient versus like the immediate, like the spouse or whoever is like the immediate person there.
Yeah.
And like their, track their, emotional well-being. I don't know. 'Cause it's like, there's some days where I feel like she's just handling this so well, but she has to, 'cause like, you have to be positive. And I don't know. Some days I don't feel like I have to be positive. But I know, like, when
you don't have to be.
No, I know, but yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting because like some days it feels way heavier on me than it is you, and I'm saying that knowing that obviously you're the person who's most directly impacted by this, but
I do think that reflects our personalities even before this diagnosis. Like, in general, I think I would say that I can let things kind of slide off my back in a way of I'm not going to let this impact every single component of my life, where I love you. And also, you can't help but let certain things trickle into everything else going on. It's very hard for you to shut it off.
As you say that, I'm like, well, Kayla, like the thought of losing my wife, like, how does that not affect me? I know, but that's where we are totally different. Like,
yes,
you know,
but like I'm saying about silly little things too. Like, it is absolutely reasonable that you can't not let that stuff trickle, like the stage 4 stuff trickle in, but you let very minor things sometimes. In my mind, I'm not, I'm trying to be respectful of you. There are very minor things sometimes that you allow to trickle into other aspects of our life, and I'm just like, you just have to let it go. And I know that's where we're different. Like, yeah. I just don't understand how something that little can impact so much. And it drives me a little crazy.
You know what's driving me a little crazy?
Riley
she
snoring.
Is snoring. If you can hear her snoring, I don't think you can.
It's not that loud, but cute. She is loud. Gosh. Ugh. Okay. Are you ready to move on?
I am.
All right. So I have one more pro of calling chronic illness. And so I think that it can continue to encourage ongoing research and also investment in that research, and also investment in like a variety of areas for MBC patients. So not just research into possible other treatment options, but I think like the Living Beyond Breast Cancer, like the conference we just went to, like all the different other conferences too, but there's different support groups and things like that are strictly for MBC patients. And I think that investment in people like us is so important to our community. But I think also then like turning it outward into making other people aware that this is important who don't necessarily have MBC is huge. I think seeing it as treatable long-term helps like that long-term response is versus just like a short-term response.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, it's chronic. Like, people are still looking for ways to improve. We'll just stick with the diabetes, chronic illness.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like there's, all kinds of new commercials out for new medicine with that, because it is, people are living with it for a long time. Like, you think of like, oh, this is a terminal thing.
Yeah.
Okay, like we don't have to put much effort into that. I'm not saying that happens, but that's how it could feel, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right, you ready to move it? Well, I guess I know I didn't really prep you for this episode ahead of time, but are there any other pros that maybe you could think of that I might have missed before we go into some of the cons and why maybe some people would push back on this type of label?
I mean, I think if like there's probably some like pros as far as just like your attitude. Like if you're the person who's dealing with it and you're choosing to say chronic illness as opposed to terminal illness, I'm guessing that's going to have a positive impact on your psyche. And I don't know, like I'm saying that without all the information. There's probably people out there who just own that it's a terminal illness and they can kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. But there's also people out there who can, like, I've read things that they've posted and stuff where, like, they've been on the same treatment for so long and it's been going well for so long. Like, there's days that go by that they don't even think about this really at all.
Yeah.
And I think that does indicate, like, okay, like, in their life, it is very much like a chronic illness could be. And not saying that people with diabetes don't think about it every day. Like, I'm not
right.
saying that. But yeah, I think though that kind of goes into one of the cons of like the outcomes for everybody vary so widely. There's different subtypes and each subtype has a different level of like aggressiveness, and the biology of the subtype is different. And so then the response to treatment can be different, and that can be different in a couple different ways, but like the number of treatment options you have can vary significantly from one subtype to the next. But then also if you have different mutations, like that can change things. And then I've said it before, but I could have the exact same subtype down to, mutation, down to percentages, down to all the things, and my response to treatment could still be completely different than the person next to me who has the exact same everything as me.
Yeah.
And so I think that makes it difficult, because it's just a chronic illness doesn't necessarily mean it's equally true for everybody. Because some people, again, like you have some people who die within a year or two of getting this diagnosis, where others are living 10, 15, 20, almost 30 years with it.
Yeah.
And so some people do live many years, but then other people are dealing with a much more aggressive disease, and or maybe they have other like underlying conditions that impact their treatment or their health. And I just think that chronic illness label can be difficult when you think of it in that category.
Yeah, makes sense. Also, as you were talking, I realized like I know very little about diabetes.
Oh yeah.
I like we keep using it as an example. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
I know you have to get a shot or something every so often.
gosh.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, you should just.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Just
So
stop.
if you have diabetes and I'm not talking for you, I have no clue what I'm talking.
If you have
about.
diabetes, start a podcast and we'll listen.
Yeah,
We'll learn more.
I don't know anything about it. I just know it's a chronic illness.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well,
What else we
thank
got?
you for being open about that, Mike.
Yeah.
So kind of going along with that, I think the term chronic illness can minimize the seriousness of it. Because when you think about everybody we follow on Instagram currently, like the wide range of symptoms, side effects, everything, it varies tremendously. For the people that post about their side effects frequently.
Yeah.
So, metastatic breast cancer, still incurable. It can still be life limiting, and it's unpredictable. You could be doing great. 3 months later, you get another scan, and it's terrible. And what next?
That's the scary thing.
It is. It is. I'm trying not to let the end of May, creep into my head too much, but
Right.
I know I have a PET scan at the end of May, and I love my oncologist, and she said it's going to be great, but there's like that fear, of course, that still trickles in of like, what if it's not?
Yep.
Like, what if? I don't know. So again, like chronic can kind of downplay the reality of the seriousness of our situation. Because another thing that comes into play is like, even just the medications that we're on, like, they're not like the healthiest medications. Like, yes, they're killing the cancer that is in my body, and that is amazing, and I'm very thankful for that. But what else is it doing? Like, that is why I had to do the liver, like, check my liver enzymes frequently. That's why I had to do those echocardiogram, right? Echocardiogram? EKG? Is that the same thing?
Yes, but I don't know why. Cause,
I know the acronym doesn't really make sense. But, like, the different, like, toxicities and stuff, like, I don't know. It's, like, that's scary, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, like, what other things might I have down the road because of these medications that I'm taking? And you have to weigh the pros and cons. Well, listen, I guess I'd rather deal with some of these negative things than not treat this cancer in my body and, die from it sooner. All right. Next one.
Next one.
Okay. I think it can create unrealistic expectations. And I think this kind of goes back to what you were talking about when people ask how I'm doing. It's like, yeah, I'm doing great. But I think that can kind of lead people to believe that I'm fine and I will be fine forever. Like, oh, she takes a few pills and I'm fine. Like, every day, that's just what I'm going to keep doing, and I'll live till 90 doing that. or you're just going to manage it like that forever. But the reality is at some point, progression is always a possibility, and side effects could become significant, and treatments can stop working.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think in my head, a chronic illness, like the ones we've discussed that aren't stage 4 cancer, it's from the little that I know, which I've established there's little that I know, it seems like they don't change a whole, you don't have these progressions with some of these commonly known chronic illnesses.
Yeah, I mean, there's different side effects and things like that. Like, I don't want to downplay those
No,
things,
exactly. But I'm just saying from like what I know, like a normal person who doesn't have this, but hears of other chronic illnesses, like generally it seems like, okay, it's just something you have, you take the medicine and like it's bad. It can, but it doesn't, you don't have this threat of it completely wrecking everything and changing every 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I guess I'm just going with like unrealistic expectations that you
I know what you mean.
Because I can totally see that. Like, there's even times now where I'm scared I'm like falling into that with you. It's like, oh, okay, like she's just gonna take her medicine and it's gonna, go into no evidence of disease and we'll be happy and everything will be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ideally, that'd be awesome. Hopefully that's the case, but we don't know. And everything changes so quickly with cancer.
Yeah. And I think that slides into the next one of just sometimes I feel, I don't know, like outwardly I look good. I mean, that's, everybody's always like, you look great. Like, you look like, whatever. And I do. Like, I feel great most of the time. But, I mean, I told you today, like, I'm very overwhelmed. And I can't necessarily pinpoint, like, why I feel that way, but I'm almost like frozen in this, like, I can't do anything because I'm just so overwhelmed by the number of things that I'm thinking about and feeling like I need to do. And so that's very heavy. Like outwardly, I think I look like I'm doing fine and handling things fine. And again, majority of the time I am. However, it's not necessarily of course, yes, like the long-term thoughts of this disease and like how it'll impact our family and everything, of course, like are always spinning in my brain somewhere. But right now, I feel like the heavy part is just like that sense of feeling very overwhelmed by a lot of little things. And I think some of it is also the menopause, possibly. Like, I just forget things very easily. Not easily, but I don't know. And like the meds that I'm on can cause some of those things. So sometimes I also just feel very dumb. Like, I'm not remembering everything like I normally would. But again, like, I think I'm also just very overwhelmed by a lot of different pieces of life. And that is not something that people would know about unless I told them.
Yeah.
Which I told you today.
You
and
did.
I don't think I told you that recently. No. But I was just like, I just don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm so overwhelmed. And I can't even pinpoint like what is overwhelming me, but I'm very overwhelmed. I've used that word a lot in the last 2 minutes.
You have.
Sorry.
But it's accurate. I can understand it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because you don't let it out and you don't let yourself spiral like I do?
No, I don't think that's it. Gosh, if I let myself do that as often as you do, what would we ever get done?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding.
I feel
I
just
love
as
you.
overwhelmed even though I let myself spiral constantly.
Yeah, so
yeah,
helpful.
maybe that's not the
Not helpful.
solution we need.
But yeah, I think, we can look great on the outside and we can look like we're holding it all together, but we are still living with very deep fears and anxieties and grief for the life that we thought we were going to have. And am I choosing to move forward with that? Yes. Am I choosing to try to live every day in a positive way as much as I can? Yes. But am I also feeling overwhelmed and anxious and scared at times and like sad? absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think it goes back to like both things can be true. And I've never really been the type of person to like outwardly show grief, sadness, like frustration, whatever, in like work or in front of friends, unless it's like a vulnerable conversation. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that's how I'm still living life.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, as the person who's dealing with this chronic illness, we'll call it, how would you deal if whether you use chronic illness or terminal illness, and someone you're talking to is like, "Oh, I don't like that you use that term."
I mean, I think I'd want to have a conversation about it. Like, I would love to hear their input.
Yeah.
And I think it 100% is up to each person.
Yeah, like also like would you feel the need to have that? Yeah, I've got a big spike.
I know. My throat's getting dry.
Yeah, a lot of talking.
Getting nervous.
So, but I guess like, do you even feel like you would need to put any effort into explaining why you use one term or the other? If it's just, like just a random person, like someone you work with maybe, and like they're not going through it, like, and like, oh, I don't like that you called it a chronic illness.
I don't know. I actually don't know that I ever really want to use chronic illness like when I'm talking to people. And again, I don't feel one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I feel like generally, like, I think I try to use the words like, I'm living with stage 4 breast cancer, or I'm living with metastatic breast cancer.
Yeah.
Or like treatment is going to be long term for the rest of my life. Or like, I'm hoping for stable scans. I'm hoping for reduction of, activity or whatever. I'm not sure actually that I'm using chronic really at all in my day-to-day discussions.
I mean, my personal thoughts are, if you're not the person directly impacted by it, your opinion doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, that too.
And you kind of like we talked about this a little bit. Like, you referred to it as a terminal illness, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't like that. And you immediately were like, we're all terminal. You kind of you basically said, shut up, your opinion doesn't matter. I agree with that.
Yeah.
If you're not the person that's directly impacted by it. I'm not saying other people aren't indirectly impacted by it, but
yeah,
I think if you're wearing this, you can call it whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think even if I'm sitting in a room with a bunch of people who have metastatic breast cancer, like, all of us are going to have different opinions on that. And I think that's okay. And I think we just all have to be respectful of each other in those moments. And I think it's conversations like this that are so important to, one, awareness, but two, like, just determine like what is best for this community. Yeah. And like, what's the best way to handle it? And like, what is the best way to get our message out to everybody? But I think it is like, everybody's situation is so unique and individualized. Like, it is hard.
I agree.
It's not, I don't know. It's not a one size fits all.
Nope. All right. Anything else?
Yeah. One more thing I think is just, it can affect how others show up for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
that
so,
makes sense. Explain that though.
So I think, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Checking in less, which is okay. I don't need people texting me 24/7. I love when I get random messages, but like, this is not a cry out for like help of, I never hear from anyone anymore. Like, that's not true. But I think also like assuming you're okay all the time, and like that underestimating like what we're carrying day to day. And I think that goes back to that. I can look fine on the outside, but I'm so overwhelmed by all of this inside. And I can't even pinpoint exactly what is overwhelming me, but just in general right now, what am I 4 months post-diagnosis?
I don't know. I think it's
no, 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months.
Wait, 3 months?
A little over 3 months post like stage 4 diagnosis.
Okay. Yeah.
I think sometimes I have to remind myself of that and like, Kayla, you are only 3 months out.
It seems longer.
I know.
I thought it was 6 months. I guess.
No. Yeah. December we found out I had cancer, but
no, I know. That's
didn't
crazy.
know it was stage 4, but like, I have to give myself grace sometimes of like, it's okay that you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't have to be doing perfect.
Heck yeah.
And that's hard though, because I want people to, I don't know, I also want people to think I'm doing well. And I am most of the time. But I also don't want them to just like forget about what I'm living with every single day.
No, that's a very good point. That's actually something I didn't even consider, is just, how other people are, going to check up on you and check in. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it's very true.
Yeah. So in general, I think where this kind of lands us is there's like a middle ground, right? And I think we can treat it like a chronic illness, but for most of us, all of us, whatever it might be, it's still a very serious disease. And I think we can be realistic about what we have, and we can also have hope for what the future holds with this.
Realistically optimistic.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I think we just, let's not minimize things. Like, we don't have to minimize how anybody's feeling. We don't have to minimize what this condition is. And we can also celebrate that people are living with it longer and longer, because we deserve to celebrate that. Like, that's huge.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's where I'm going to end today.
Okay, sounds good. I think that was a good conversation. I
think so too.
It wasn't something I knew exactly what we were going to get into, but thanks for setting all that up.
Yeah.
Before we wrap things up, I do want to bring something up, and we'll post a link into our socials for this. But your friend, Becky, is gearing up to run a marathon. I think it's the Missoula Marathon.
Yes.
And as a fundraiser for this, she has started a fundraiser that benefits MBCure. So we'll post a link to that. The race is going to be June 28th in Missoula, Montana. So we've got about 2 months there. So 2 months? Yeah, 2 months.
A little less than 2 months, yeah.
And her goal is to raise $2,000. So
I think she's at a little over 800 right now.
Yeah, let's crush that. Let's blow that at 2,000 out of the water. Because we've mentioned this many times before that, metastatic breast cancer is very underfunded.
Yep.
And every little bit helps. So I think it was very, very awesome of Becky to choose this to be something that she's going to fundraise for. So
absolutely.
Let's show Becky some support, and also just the MBC community.
Yep. Love you, Becky. All right.
Well, I think that's it. Thanks for listening. Obviously, it's been a while since I've done this. I'm going to do it again. Please like, subscribe, comment, do everything you can to help push this the podcast up there. Yeah, because the likes and subscribes actually make you, I think, show up more in the podcast algorithms. I don't know. Is that even a thing? Is podcast algorithm a thing? I'm not sure. So leave a review too. Absolutely. That'd be great. 5 stars. Yep. I mean, yes, 5 stars. All right. I mean, 5 stars is great, but if you don't want to give us 5 stars, that's also okay. We can always learn and we can always do better. I agree. Okay. All right. Well, you've heard us enough, so we're gonna wrap this up. All right. Thanks for listening. All right. Love you. Love you too. Bye. Bye.